Hi YouTube. If you have an e-bike, I imagine one of your concerns would typically be, what if I run out of battery power in the middle of a ride, which is a normal concern. What I have done is I have built a little auxiliary battery. I shouldn't say little, because this is actually a 10.5 amp hour battery. I made this from a Vrusen kit. If you're not familiar with Vrusen, it's a way to make your own battery packs. It's pretty easy. You can choose your own cells. I really like to use these. These are the Panasonic Sanyo cell 18650. They're 3500 milliamp hours, which is about as high capacity as you can ever find in lithium-ion battery in these 18650s. The nominal voltage on most standard 18650s is 3.7 volts. When they're fully charged, they're 4.2 volts, but they use the nominal value for most calculations. But anyway, these are super high quality batteries, about as good as you can get. You can buy these at IMR Batteries. If you buy them in quantity, it's roughly $4.50 per cell, I believe it is now. So I used 39 cells in this pack. This is a 48 volt pack, which means there's 13 cells in series, and then I have 3 in parallel. And the parallel is what determines your amp hours. Like, this is a 3500 milliamp battery, which is actually 3.5 amps. So you just take that times 3. So that gives me 10.5 amp hours on this battery pack. The voltage is determined by your series. So I have 13 cells in series here times that 3.7 volt nominal, which gives me the 48 volts. And that's true no matter what you do with these 24, 36, 48 volt systems. It's just determined by the batteries that you have in series times that 3.7 volts. That's always going to be your voltage. And again, your amp hours will always be however many cells you have in parallel. Again, this is 3 in parallel times your 3.5 per cell, 10.5 amp hours. This pack weighs just over 6 pounds. I can put this in a pannier. I can put it in a backpack. You could probably use like Velcro straps or something just to even attach it to your frame, just to give you that auxiliary power. And the way I work mine is I connect all my batteries with these Castle Creations connectors. There's lots of connectors out there. I personally like these Castles. They're a good size. They're easy to grab. They have a 75 amp hour capacity, which is, I shouldn't say 75 amp hour, I mean 75 amps, which is more current than I'm ever going to run through this 48 volt system. But nonetheless, they work great. They're really easy. Let me show you how they fit together. It's pretty hard to mess them up because you can only put them together one way. You have one side that has the input, one side that has the part that goes to your battery. So there's only one way you can fit them together. So it's impossible to get these backwards because, well, I'm not having as easy time as I... There you go. It's a nice snug fit, but it's also not difficult to do. And the other thing I do when I make these connections is I really like that silicone self-fusing tape. It wraps around itself and then it seals to itself, and as it cures up, I'm encasing this whole apparatus in pretty much a solid chunk of silicon, which makes it super stable. It's easy to grab onto, so when you're making these battery connections, you don't have to fumble around as far as trying to grab these small connectors. You can just grab the big chunk of silicon that you formed there, and again, they're really easy. So I highly recommend that. Not necessarily the Castle Creations, but if you rig up all your batteries with this sort of connector, you can swap in between. And then the last thing I've done with this auxiliary battery is I have this extender cable. So this one's just over 3.5 feet long, which is plenty long to get from, especially if you have a panniers, which is also something I would really highly recommend for any e-bike. It makes them so much more useful. If you've got a set of panniers, you can carry things. You can carry your charger in your pannier. You can make runs to the grocery store. and it's just a lot easier than a backpack, and it makes the riding much more enjoyable too if you don't have a big backpack on your shoulders. But so this cable, if I'll show you in a minute, I'm going to go out and put together my bike for an excursion I'm going to do today. So I will continue on with this later as far as showing you how I hook this up on my specific bicycle. But it's a great idea to have an auxiliary pack. Again, it takes away that concern that you may run out of juice in the middle of your trip. And they're fairly inexpensive. I imagine this pack, let's see the cells, there's 39 cells at $4.50 a piece, so it was roughly 170 bucks for the cells to build the pack. Then you have to buy the Vruzend kit, which is well, go to the website. It's VRUZEND, and they'll show you the kits and the pricing. This whole battery probably cost me maybe 250 bucks for a really high quality 10.5 amp hours battery, using the best quality cells almost that you can get on the market. These Panasonic Sanyo cells. Panasonic makes the batteries for Tesla. So again, these are just about as high quality as you can get. So that's it on the auxiliary battery. I will follow up just a little bit more to show you how I hook this cable up on my system. But I hope this has proved helpful. Thank you so much.